You are camping with your friends in the woods. You wake up in the middle of the night as nature calls upon you to release the liquids you drank before going to bed. You leave the tent and blindly go around some trees to do your business, and as you relieve yourself, you hear a weird rustle. Probably a squirrel or something, you think. But it sounded too big for a squirrel. A bear? A deer? Only the worst scenarios start coming to your mind as you stare into absolute darkness. What if it's worse? What if it's someone else? What if it's something else? Something more mythical, like werewolves or vampires. Things that have the mind of a human and instincts of an animal. Things that prey upon us. This is a story about non-human beings. Turns out they are very much real, and people found out about them because they made a YouTube video, which means they were lucky enough to not get recommended a Mr. Beast video when they opened the app. Can you imagine being this mythical being who's been living underground their entire life? One day you find a smartphone and you're like, what's this Mr. Beast? Well, I am a Mr. and a Beast. Let's see what this is about.
This Lamborghini's gonna fall in it. We're also nuking an entire life-size village.
But back to our timeline. They made a video and people called them Genjin. That means mythical person, which is fine, you know. But I also call a mythical person whichever local crackhead survives my 1200 degrees honey bun. So they're chill like that and start living with humans. Our main guy, Utaka, is attending a high school that is notoriously known for having a lot of Genjin. He chose this place despite being a 2-hour commute just to avoid his old friends from middle school. Now, I hear you thinking, did he kill someone? Maybe he shot himself in class or trolled his mates a little too hard in Minecraft. But it's nothing like that. He actually liked his friends, but he became more and more self-conscious until his personality became that of wet cement. He was so preoccupied about the way he was perceived to the point where he doesn't even know what he enjoys or wants to do in the future. No hopes and dreams, just a hollow man.
Don't you dare go, Otto.
The first person he talks to is this girl, and maybe you notice she has some odd features like big fucking feet. So the first Genjin he meets is this werewolf girl, Tsumiki, who is anguishingly bending a metal door cause her shoes are too fucking big for these baby ass lockers. Now Tsumiki here is a bit of a dumbass, so he asks her why not just put them up on the locker, and she's like, whoa, you smart, and literally hit it off. Now, based on my description of Utaka, you probably think he's a blank canvas just for a self-insert element, but it's not really like that. He does have a personality, he's just never used it. He gets stunlocked pretty easily because he doesn't really know how to respond to people, and that's where Tsumiki comes in. This is someone who shows off her ripped socks and brags about how big her feet are. Doesn't eat human meat. Now, she calls people obstructions and walks home covered in dirt after digging holes in the schoolyard. She is in every sense of the word, completely unbothered, almost to a fault. She is everything Utaka wants to be. So he explains his situation to her and she decides to help with his slightly sociopathic problem. He reluctantly agrees and she tricks him into a hug. Now, they've known each other for 1 day, so in Japanese terms this is basically a marriage proposal. But instead, she just picks him up like a sack of potatoes and jumps out the fucking window. This near-death experience changes his perspective a bit, and after sniffing him goodbye, the deed is done. I think he likes her. Nuh-uh. The next day, he buys her new socks and she invites him to her house. From here on, Utaka starts doing things he actually wants to do, slowly cleansing himself from the went hollow allegations. Like going to her place despite the immense spiritual pressure of his classmates. Alright, these two are very, very adorable. The chemistry between them is one of the best I've seen in recent memory. They bounce off one another so easily and in such a satisfying manner, it is addicting. You can put any of these characters' faces on a military recruitment poster with "Do it for her" written next to it, and you'll have an army in no time. Speaking of characters,
They make it look so easy, connecting with another human being.
there are other characters here, and they're all pretty well rounded, like Unicorn, Fish, Invisible, Medusa, Spider, Human, each with their own introductory arcs, fleshing them out almost immediately. This is just wholesome monogatari. Take for example Senga the Vampire, whose powers are that he's too hot and every girl falls for him instantly. Despite this, he has no friends because he, just like myself, only uses them as food. So this leads to very shallow and short relationships because the guys don't like him and the girls like him until they realize he only wants food. When he thought he actually had a friend, he got ditched because he must have been meeting up with Sneeko. Like, you ditched your vampire friend because the girl you liked gave you her number, told you to stay home so that she could be alone with the guy whose mere existence makes any girl fall for him. You are not fucking cooking. But even if you don't really care about these other characters, whenever you feel like you're wasting your time, it always loops back to these two making some kind of progress in their relationship through helping these other people. And it never fails to activate my neurons. This is furry propaganda, and it's fucking working. Now, this story does not reinvent the wheel. You've seen it a million times before. We have Sports Festival, Classic Festival, Beach, Haunted House, Maid Cafe. But the character interactions are so good and unique because the author made them non-human. And it's interesting to see how they react in these scenarios you've probably seen before. And I especially recommend reading it while under the influence of antihistamines so that you can hallucinate them in your room for a more immersive experience. Now, I'm sure you have better content to watch, so bye bye.